Todd's Odds is back with our friend, our sports betting analyst, Todd Fuhrman, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Todd, how was your Las Vegas summer? Is it just you in a Speedo by the pool just getting cooked?
I mean, that's what we do out here, Jay. You go with as little clothing as possible. You get out the tanning oil, and you make sure you can bake your skin to a nice golden brown in time for football season, where we sleep 4 hours a night, and we typically don't leave our office. All of us aren't entitled to 6 months of vacation like the lovely folks at TSN have written into your most recent contract.
6 weeks, but let's not argue semantics. Let's instead show you the odds for MVP this season. Todd, I'm so fascinated by these odds from FanDuel. I mean, I'm not surprised about Patrick Mahomes being at the top of the charts, but the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, down at 16-1, way at the bottom. Curious, who do you see having any value, maybe out of this list or maybe off this board as the season continues?
You know, one of the things when you look at the MVP, the way it's been handed out in recent years for the league, it is truly a quarterback-driven award. So I think if you're trying to identify a running back or a wide receiver, they're going to have to do something that the league has never seen in terms of generating a statistical profile. So the guy that I've actually bet in this market was listed there, and we'll see him debut on Friday night down in Sao Paulo, Brazil, playing quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And when I look at Jalen Hurts, he had a little hitch in his giddy-up late in the year last year. The mobility was compromised, and as a result, you could see his mechanics getting out of whack. There wasn't nearly as much zip on the ball, and it's part of the reason that Philly limped to the finish, going 1-6 straight up and 0-7 against the number. But with a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, the third one that Jalen Hurts will have in 3 seasons, I think you're going to see them play with a little bit more tempo, a little bit more on their front foot. And I think adding that third receiver opposite Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown via the trade with the Commanders and Jahan Dotson will pay dividends. I think Jalen Hurts is the guy to be very much in the forefront of this award.
Fascinating. Aside from most valuable player, Todd, is there another individual award that you've targeted at this point?
You know, we can go to the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and you can understand why Caleb Williams in Chicago is getting all the buzz and is essentially the short shot on the board. I mean, that's a city that's starved to have a 4,000-yard passer under center for one of the most prestigious franchises. Jaden Daniels, all the rage as starting quarterback in Washington. But I want to go to a skill position guy down in Arizona with Marvin Harrison Jr. At a price that's a little bit longer. He's going to be the primary weapon in that Cardinals offense. And when I look at Arizona, knowing that the defense is going to struggle all season, I think it gives Harrison excellent opportunities to rack up stats, put up gaudy numbers as a primary target. And he's just cut differently than some of the other wide receivers that we've seen make the jump from college to the pros. Wouldn't shock me at all if Marvin Harrison is the guy that jumps in there and steals that award.
14 teams made the NFL playoffs last season. Is there a team going into this year, Todd, that you'd feel comfortable saying they won't make the playoffs this season out of those 14?
You know, we can take some of the low-hanging fruit that's out there, but you have to lay a price if you want to bet on the Cleveland Browns to miss the playoffs or the Pittsburgh Steelers to do the same. So I'll take a team that's actually a relatively heavy favorite to get into the postseason. And, Jay, we can go back 6-8 weeks when I picked this team as a side that I didn't think had a chance to win the Super Bowl. I'm willing to take a flyer on the Dallas Cowboys right around plus 165 that they're on the outside looking in. I know the NFC isn't as top-heavy as what we've seen in the AFC, nor does it offer nearly as much depth. But I think this is a Cowboys team with very limited weapons, with CeeDee Lamb, a running back that we're not sure who's going to emerge, Dak Prescott kind of on a lame duck contract, and a defense that lost one of its difference makers in Deron Bland before the season started. Wouldn't shock me at all if we were talking about Jerry scrambling for answers because Dallas is on the outside looking in.
Let's take a look at the odds to win the Super Bowl, brought to you by FanDuel. Chiefs right on top, followed by the Niners, Ravens, and Lions. Todd, we like to ask you for your Super Bowl pick, and you never give it to us. Instead, what you tend to do is tell us teams that won't be going to the Super Bowl and making it. You've already mentioned the Dallas Cowboys. Anyone else you'd like to add to that list as we start our segment?
We are going to eliminate another team in the NFC, and it's one led by starting quarterback Derek Carr and a head coach who is actually the shortest odds to be the first coach relieved of his duties on the sidelines. That would be the New Orleans Saints. I don't think this team will be as bad as some people believe. There's been a school of thought that they could have the fewest wins in the league alongside the Patriots. But this New Orleans team, a little bit limited with weapons on offense. It's an aging defense. I think the Saints will be hard-pressed to be playing for the most meaningful prize in the National Football League in their home stadium in the middle of February. So sorry, Saints fans, you guys are out. We've now eliminated 2 out of the 32 that can't and won't win the Super Bowl.
And you got to stay with us for the next 5 months as we head to Super Bowl 59, or as I'm going to be calling it on this show, Super Bowl Licks in New Orleans this year. Todd, as we head up to Super Bowl Licks, you'll be with us throughout the regular season, continuing to eliminate teams from possible Super Bowl winning this year until we get finally to a team that Todd thinks might actually win it. Todd, you were great. We'll talk to you next time, next week on the show.
It is always a pleasure, my friend. Welcome back.